we've just figured that we've learned what is contract. Through contract, we've learned what is an agreement. Through agreement, what we've learned what is a promise. Right? So promise when accepted becomes a proposal when accepted. A proposal when accepted becomes a promise. A promise treated as consideration for each other becomes an agreement. And when this agreement is enforceable by law, we have known that this agreement is now called a contract. Now that it is a contract, what are the features of the contract? That's what we've learned. No? Essential elements of a contract. Right?
Essential. Yes.
Essential elements of a valid contract. Right? So what are all the features or characteristics of a valid contract? What are essential for a valid contract to become? So in that process, we figured out that there are two set of valid. So there are two set of essentials. One particularly expressed in the act, right, and the other, though not expressed in the act, are considered or implied, right? They're implied by nature essential. Like the same way cooking utensils and gas stove is required or essential for any cooking purposes, the same way there are certain things such as minimum of 2% should be there to form an essential valid contract. There should be an intention to create a legal relationship. Then only agreement will come into use for. So the intention to create a legal relationship should be definitely there for an agreement to convert into an contract. And then we've said that there are certain legal agreements or legal arrangements that needs to be followed for you to form a legal relationship. So you have to be ready to fulfill all the duties regarding the legal relationship. What else is there? The possibility of the performance should be possible, bro. Like the performance should be possible to do, right? Don't just make agreements saying that I'll give you 10,000 rupees if you go push the mountain, or if you can, get that Sanjeevani flying in something. Don't just put all these stupid promises or don't make them into agreements, and don't make that agreements technically into contracts. Right? Out of your foolish things, you can do anything as a contract, but don't just come to the court if the possibility of the performance is not there, right? And then what's the other thing? What is the one more implied essential? There are legal agreements that we have to follow. There should be definitely two persons. There should be a possibility of the performance. There should be the intention to create legal relationship. There is one more thing, though.
Certainty of meaning.
Certainty in the meaning. Which oil do you want? How many liters do you want? Right? What are you buying from me? For what am I selling it you for? How much money you should give me? What am I giving? Is it a red Sandro car or is it a black Mercedes car? It is 6,40,000 or 7,80,000, right? Is it a wire phone or not? Is it chicken biryani or the mutton biryani? Certainty in the meaning of the contract or in the agreement, right? There should definitely be certainty. What are we dealing for, right? At the end of the day, it is all about dealing on, with some other party in maintaining a relationship to do something, right? So these are the 5 important things, 5 essential things for a agreement to convert into a contract. Because first thing, you need 2 parties to make that agreement, minimum of 2 parties to make that agreement, for 2 promises to form consideration for each other. And then you should have an intention to create legal relationship. If you don't have an intention to create a legal relationship, the agreement stays agreement, right? You can't go to the court of law to give justice or to ask for justice, right? And then there is something called legal arrangements or procedures. Whatever are the legal arrangements or procedures that needs to be done to to convert an agreement into a contract, you have to follow all of that. And then there should be certainty in the meaning of your agreement. What are you doing this agreement for? What is this agreement for? Right? That is the certainty in the meaning of the agreement, and that agreement should be technically possible. Right? The meaning of whatever the certainty is, it should be possible. The performance of the contract or the agreement or the promise technically should be possible, right? And then when all of these things are there, then the act says term. So along with the 5 implied essentials, for all agreements to become contracts, they need to be done with the free will of the parties who are competent to contract with a legal objective for a lawful consideration. And you have to also make sure that these types of agreements are not already expressly declared void. Right? In some other notice, government has declared void already. That means expressly they have told that these type of agreements are not valid or not valid contracts, right? So it should not be it should not be that, and has to be having free will, free consent of the parties, or competent to contract, a legal object, and a lawful constitution. That's what we've learned, right?
Yes, sir.
All the essentials, all the 11 essentials of a valid contract.
Yes, sir.
Lovely. And then today, if you remember, I told you we're going to learn about the different types of contracts that we could name. And what are the types, dude? It is a way or technique to identify differences between the same family, no? It's like there's so many types of fishes. To identify what is what, we name this is sardine, this is pamphlet, or this is XYZ, this is ABC, this is so many different types of fishes. It's small fishes. In small fishes, so many names, right? Together, we've named all the different types of sea animals: fishes, prawns, crabs, sharks, whales, dolphins, starfish, octopus, right? So it's all about what are the different types of fishes, or what are the different types of fishes, sea animals. So types are always names or structures that we need to remember, right? So this could be explained or described as this also, right? So like a starfish is also described as a fish, right? Or an octopus is also described as a living organ or a sea organism, right? So yeah, so these are all the types. That's why we use the term types. And types of contracts are also different possibilities out there which are in existence or that can be existed. So there could be this type of contract also. Technically, we could describe. How do we describe this contract? Oh, this is a this contract. This is a this type of a contract. This is this type of a contract. Like this is a SUV car which accommodates 8 people, 6 people. This is a hatchback which would accommodate 4 or 5 people maximum, right? So what are these about? How do we describe? This is a hatchback. This is a sedan. This is a SUV. This is a MUV, right? Multi-utility vehicle, super utility vehicle, or whatever SUV stands for, right? So yeah, so these are types. And so to describe the types of contract that could exist, we have 3 main branches. Okay, so we could describe a contract on the basis of validity. Okay, so whether this is a valid contract or not. When will be anything a valid contract? For to become a contract, it should already become an agreement. No, you guys there with me? Nida, Bhavani, and Navya.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
yeah. Navya, hello.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Navya. Yeah. So where were we?
Types of contract.
Yeah, types of contract on the basis of validity. For an agreement to be a contract, all essential elements are there. No, if any of the element is not there, that is void contract. So this is not a valid contract. There is valid contract. There is not valid contract. So not valid contracts are called void contracts. As simple as that. If any of the essential is missing, it is a void contract. As simple. So there you could also describe contracts on the basis of formation. Okay. So how did this contract form? Right? We'll see that. Okay. Is this a general contract? Right? This contract is between 2 parties, or this contract is between an organization and the public? This contract is between a person and to all the general public. What is this contract? How did this form? Right? Did the court make this contract? What happened? How did this contract form? And we could also describe a contract on the basis of the performance. Okay, so describing the contract based on the performances. Okay, the contract does this, we have to do this. How much until now? How much has been done? Is this executed? Okay, this is an executed contract. Done, said that is an executed contract. Is this executory? That means there is still a part of work being left, either by one of the parties or both the parties. If both the parties are yet to do the work, it is a bilateral executory contract. Right? If one party has completed his work and the other party's work is pending, that is a unilateral executory contract. Right? So it could be a valid contract formed on the basis of express contract and is executory or is in the executory position. It is an executory contract. That means it's still the work has still to be there. So the terms, all the fruits or leaves under these branches could be parallel. Like one at a time you could choose. One of this, and one of this. 3 points, done. Any contract, any situation, you describe. This is formed on this the executory position is this. So the ways you describe a contract. So 3 ways you can use to describe contract. On the basis of validity, it is a valid contract. No, it is a void contract. It is a voidable contract. Let's see what is it. It is an illegal contract. What is an illegal contract? Agreement which is not enforceable by law. How did it become a contract? Let's see. And yeah, whatever are there those. And then on the basis of formation, how did you guys come into contract? Right? And then on the basis of, what was the third one? Performance. On the basis of performance, what is this contract? Executory or executed? Sir, this is executed. Oh, no, that was executed. No, this is executed, done. The contract has been executed, sir. It's still an executory. All that dialogues that we can use. So what are we using technically? We're describing the contract. Okay, so that is why we need the literature of types of contracts. Let us go into right away that. If you maintain a docs like this, it would be very, very, very useful for you to maintain an indent like this, right? So we've learned what is a contract in agreement. We've learned a promise. Then enforceability by law. You know it. You know when and where it comes, right? After that, we've seen. So contract is nothing but an agreement and enforceability of law, right? And then we've seen essentials of valid contract, the picture and all the information. And then there is types of contracts. See, types of contracts on the basis of validity, right? Is it a valid contract? Cool. Is it a void contract? Okay. It is a voidable contract? Oh, it is an illegal agreement, or it is an unenforceable contract. What is this unenforceable contract? Let's see. On the basis of formation, types of contracts on the basis of formation. You could say that is an express contract. You could say that is an implied contract. You could say that is a quasi contract, or you could say that is an e-commerce contract. You could also say that it is an executed contract. You could also say it is an executory contract. You could also say it is a unilateral executory contract, or it is a bilateral contract. Right? So yeah, so these are all the ways you could describe. So let us fatafat see one by one, and let's just call it a day. Let's just learn what are the different types of contracts, and then just enough. Let's have a great day tomorrow. Okay? So, and then we have void contracts. What are void contracts? So valid contract is one of the types of contracts on the basis of formation or validity, right? And then we have void contracts. What are void contracts? Section 2 of some section at some point states as follows: a contract which ceases to be enforceable by law becomes void. A contract which ceases to be enforceable by law becomes void. When does an agreement become a contract? If it has all the essentials of the valid contract, if it have all the essentials of a valid contract, it is a valid contract. And now it has become a contract. And then what is happening? One of the essential which was valid, which was there before, is now failing to exist. What could be one of the reasons? It could be two parties, right? What if there is no other party now? Now this contract has ceased, because there is no other party. Right? So a contract which ceases to be unenforceable by law becomes void. Oh yeah, it became a contract, but then due to the absence of the one of the essentials of the contract, it could not become a contract. It now ceased to become a contract. Ceased means stop. It's not anymore a contract. You don't consider it a contract anymore. It is a void contract. You consider it a void contract because it has ceased to perform. Example, Mr. X agrees to write a book with a publisher. See, after a few days, X dies in an accident. So this guy X has agreed with a publisher. So publisher is a person who calls authors and publishes their books and takes a share out of the business it makes or the revenue it makes. Right? So Mr. X agrees to write a book with a publisher. After a few days, X dies in an accident. Here, the contract becomes void due to the impossibility of performance of the contract. So it was a valid contract before when X agreed to write a book with a publisher. All the essentials were there. Agreement turned into contract. But then when one of the party has died or ceased to be no more, the contract also has ceased to be no more because two conditions. One thing, there is no other party. The second thing is that you remember one of the implied essential as possibility of performance. Right? Can Sandilya write a book for X and publish it on the name of X? Can Can I do that? Can Sandilya write a book and publish it on the name of X? I can't do that, right? Can I?
No.
Can I?
No, sir.
Yeah, right. We can't. So possibility of performance is a. So what happened? Out of all the essentials that are required, two have gone. Right now, in this situation, the contract became void. Void means it ceased to exist anymore. This contract will not be performed. Right. So this contract has become void. Because a void contract is one which cannot be enforced by court of law. Now, even if you go to the court of law, what will court do? This contract is cancelled. That's what it did, no? Because I won't see if I make an agreement for MF Hussain painting, I don't want some other Hussein's painting. Right? I don't want Zakir Hussein's painting for sure. Right? So I'm asking for MF Hussain painting. I need MF Hussain painting only. And if MF Hussain has died, I don't want any other painting. Right? Even if the court comes, it can't force me to take another painting, no? What will court do? Dude, he doesn't like to take another painting, give his money back. As simple as that. So law is about finding a solution in a complex situation, right? That's what we are using these rules and regulations for. Right? So here the contract becomes void due to the impossibility of performance of the contract. Clear? Yeah. You see the next example. Then there is something called voidable contract. In voidable contracts, this section 2, subsection I defines that an agreement which is enforceable by law at the option of one, but not at the option of the other. An agreement that is enforceable by law at the option of one party, but not at the option of other. What is this thing, man? An agreement that is enforceable by law is neither. What is an agreement enforceable by law? What do you call
Contract, sir. Contract.
a valid contract? Yes. What do you call an agreement that is not enforceable by law?
Invalid contract.
Agreement.
Kya?
Agreement enforced by law is contract, sir.
Okay. What do you
Valid
call an
contract.
agreement? No, yeah, a valid contract. True. What do you call an agreement not enforceable by law?
It's void, sir.
It's a void
Void
contract,
contract.
right? So the role is changing. So an agreement enforceable by law, valid contract. An agreement not enforceable by law, void contract. An agreement enforceable by law, but at the option of one party and not at the option of other party. That means if Nidra is one party and I am the other party, either at the option or either at me. I'm giving an example on the option of me. That means if I have an option to enforce the contract, then Nida should be obligated to perform. Right? And if I don't want to enforce this contract, I can cancel it right away. Okay? So that is a voidable contract. So, but once the contract, as long as the person who has the option is letting the contract go, that is a valid contract. But at the same time, it is also voidable contract for the person who has the option to enforce it or not. Okay? So that is a voidable contract. And it is an agreement that is enforceable by law at the option of one party, but not at the option of the other. Understood? What is a voidable contract? Bhavani, can you give me straight away 3 definitions of both valid, void, and voidable? Yeah. Can you describe me the 3 definitions of valid contract, void contract, and a voidable contract?
Valid contract, a contract which is
It is a contract already.
and it's an agreement which
Exactly.
is enforceable by law.
Yeah, that's it. What is a voidable contract? What is a void contract?
An agreement which is not enforceable by law.
Lovely. What is a voidable contract?
An agreement which is enforceable by law at the option of one, but not at the option of other.
This is how you explain these 3 concepts to any person on the earth who knows basic English. Any word more, any word less, you will not be able to communicate in the shortest form. Right? If you did not understand, you should add words, no? So if you're writing and if you want to ensure the shortest formation of communication, you just express valid, void, and valid, void, and voidable contract, like the way Bhavani just said. Clear? All of you?
So,
Yes,
Navya
sir.
and Nida?
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah. So we have something here. It is a distinction between a void and a voidable contract. So how do we distinguish between a void contract and a voidable contract? Okay. So further to distinguish this also, we have super side headings. So on the basis of definition, we define, we distinguish like this. On the basis of nature, we distinguish like this. Nature means, oh, this guy is a very short-tempered guy, or this guy is a Captain Cool, right? So how we, on the types of nature, we distinguish these people. So the types of nature, how do this respond, and how does this respond? How does this react, and how does this react? Okay. And on the rights, what do you mean by rights? So who will have rights now? Will the contract have rights? Contract is just the agreement, no? Who will have rights? Contract is just a paper. Who will have will the paper have rights?
no, so parties
Parties.
who enter into contract, they will have.
Exactly, all of you super damn correct, right? So what will be the rights of a party? So how do we distinguish void and void and voidable contracts on the rights of the parties? Okay, let's now just distinguish this thing. Bhavani, can you read this thing? The definition part?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Definition. A void contract cannot be enforced at all. A voidable contract is an agreement which is enforceable only at an option of one of the parties, but not at the option of the others.
Understand?
Therefore,
Yeah. Sorry. Continue.
enforceability or otherwise divides the two types of contract.
So how is void and voidable distinguished on the mere meaning, on the mere definition? This is a contract which cannot be enforceable. This is an agreement which is enforceable only at the option of the one party, but not at the option of the other. Therefore, enforceability, right? On the basis of enforceability, this cannot be enforceable. This can be enforceable at the option of one party. And if that party does not want to enforce it, he can stop it. So on the enforceability, this is never possible. This still has chance. Therefore, enforceability or otherwise divides the two types of contracts. Clear? Nida, nature.
By nature, a void contract is valid at the time when it is made but becomes unenforceable and thus void on account of subsequent developments or events like supervening impossibility, subsequent illegality, etc.
Illegality.
Repudiation of
Nee, bas. What did you understand the first one? That's basic English only, no? But can you
yes,
tell
sir.
me the meaning of that?
Void contract becomes enforceable, sir. Is
Okay.
valid at the time when it is, but becomes enforceable as void. But on account of the impossibilities like illegal things, it becomes unavoid. It becomes
Yeah.
void, sir.
It becomes void. So can you read? Yeah, you said correct. Now tell with proper words. Again, repeat it. What did you
By
understand of that?
nature, that's what a void becomes a contract becomes valid when depending on the legal structures
It
and also,
becomes
but it
valid or
can
it is
become
valid.
it is valid, sir.
Exactly. A
But
void
yeah,
contract is valid. When is it
yes,
valid?
sir.
When is it
Depending on
valid?
enforceable by law.
Yeah. At the time when it is made. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And then what happens?
Then it can be void when depending on the illegal practices such as
See
impossibilities
how
and
hard it
subsequent
is to communicate the same meaning. You're
yes, sir.
struggling with words. Just use these words. Now, just read out this thing again for me and, and correct yourself or check yourself whether this is exactly what you wanted to tell me. Right? Start again.
By nature, a void contract is valid at the time when it is made but becomes unenforceable and thus void on
It is
account of
unenforceable or unenforceable.
unenforceable.
Yeah, read it from start again.
By nature, a void contract is valid at the time when it is made, but becomes unenforceable and thus void on
What is that?
account of
What is this?
unenforceable.
Unenforceable. It is enforceability.
Yes,
Enforceability,
sir.
unenforceability. Okay? It is an
Unenforceability.
exactly. Read it again.
By nature, a void contract is valid at the time when it is made, but it becomes an unenforceability and thus void on account of subsequent developments or events like supervening impossibility, subsequent illegality, etc.
Exactly. Next.
Repudiation of a voidable contract also renders the contract void.
Stop. In this sentence, Navya, can you tell me how many meanings of the words you don't know in the second sentence? How many words come meanings you don't know?
Repudiation, sir.
Repudiation and
That's it, sir.
that's it. You know the meaning of a voidable contract also renders the contract void. All the meanings you know.
Yes, sir.
Repudiation means cancellation.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
putting it an end. So let's see what is the Google has to say. Repudiation is rejection of a proposal or idea, right? The repudiation of policies, the repudiation of ideas, right? Denial of the truth or validity of something. So repudiation is rejection, right? You're canceling this thing, you're rejecting this thing, right? So now read this thing, Nida. And Navya in your mind.
Similarly, similarly, a contingent
नहीं
contract
बाबा
might
फिर से वो
become
सेकंड पॉइंट ही पढ़ो एक बार.
repudiation of a voidable contract also renders the contract void.
So हमें याद है in so sorry. Do you guys remember that voidable contract there was an option for one person to unenforce it, no? Right. So as long as that person repudiates or makes the contract unenforceable, or once the person who has that option repudiates the contract, right? Then that voidable contract became void contract. Until then, it was voidable and valid. Now it became completely void. Understood?
Yes, sir.
The next one.
Similarly, a contingent contract might become void when the occurrence of the event on which it is contingent becomes impossible.
Okay. Neither how many meanings? All of you just figure this out. How many are the words that you don't know the meanings of? Just tell it out. I'll be marking them. Oh, I don't know the meaning of this word. What is the meaning of this word? Wherever you feel like that, just tell me that word.
So contingency is something like future events which cannot be predicted, no, sir?
Nida, almost right. Yes, you're almost there.
Yes,
Navya
yes,
and
sir.
Bhavani, are you aware of what contingent means? Navya and Bhavani?
Yeah,
Navya and Bhavani.
No, sir.
Okay. Navya? Hail Navya.
A chance of occurring, sir.
That is the meaning of contingent. So contingent means uncertain future event. Nida, that's what you said, right?
yes, sir.
Exactly. So any uncertain, what do you mean by uncertain? Rain is uncertain. The time when the rain falls is uncertain, right? But it is certain that when rain falls, the land gets wet. So certainty means which is happening for sure, which is a fact, and uncertainty means which we don't know the possibility of, right? So any uncertain future event. So we don't know what will happen there, right? But it is certain that it might happen. We don't know when it will happen, but it will happen. Like death is certain, but the time of death is uncertain, right? We know that we'll die. We'll die is certainty, but when we will die is uncertainty. It's an uncertain death. Obviously, all the deaths are uncertain. It's not planned, no? Until unless it's a murder. If it's a plan, it's murder, no?
Yes, sir.
So contingent contracts are also those contracts where the objectivity is based on happening of that certain event, right? So assume if you and me come into a contract, if that land, if I win that house in the court case, I will sell this land to you, right? I am fighting with the previous owner of the land, okay? And he's saying that it's still his land. I'm saying that I bought it completely, right? So we both are fighting a case for that land in the court, and I'm making an agreement with you, right? I'm making an agreement with you that if I win that house in that or in the land in that case, I'm ready to sell you. I am willing to sell you at so and so price. So this is what a contingent contract, a contract based on an uncertain future event, or an agreement based on an uncertain future event. So similarly, a contingent contract might become void when the occurrence of that event on which it is contingent becomes impossible. What is it saying? That if I win the case, I will sell you. What if I don't win the case? That means I don't have a land that I can sell you on. No. So this agreement becomes a void contract. An agreement not enforceable by law. It's a void contract. But had if the agreement, the house, I would have won the case and I got the house, that is a valid contract. No, the contingent contract became a valid contract. So a contingent contract might become void when the occurrence of event becomes impossible, and becomes valid when the occurrence of the event is possible. The right to treat it as voidable does not invalidate the contract until such right is exercised. So what is it telling? The right to treat a contract as voidable. What is the treatment of voidability? That one person has the option to enforce or not enforce the contract, right? So the right to treat the contract as voidable does not invalidate the contract until such right is exercised. That means as long as that right is exercised, the contract stays valid. Once the right is exercised, it becomes void. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Bhavani, can you read the rights of the parties to distinguish what are the rights of the parties of a void contract? What are the rights of the parties of a voidable contract?
Yes, sir.
Hail Bhavani. Yeah, what are the rights?
As regards rights of the parties, in the case of a void contract, there is no legal remedy for the parties as the contract cannot be performed in any way.
Yeah, you understood, right? Did anyone did not understand? It's saying that as regards the rights of the parties, in case of a void contract, there is no legal remedy. If that person, you remember what was the example he gave for a void contract? X made a contract with the publisher, X died. What will the publisher what will the publisher get if he files a case on X? Is there any legal remedy that the court can provide?
No, sir.
Right. So there is no legal remedy for the parties as the contract cannot be performed in any way. Right? There's a remedy that you just take back whatever you gave. Okay, but you cannot ask the contract to be enforced. Yeah. So that's why it became a void contract, and there is no legal remedy for the parties. Yeah. The next one.
In the case of voidable contract, the aggrieved party has a right to resign it within a reasonable time.
Yeah. Any words that you don't know the meaning of?
Resigned.
This one?
Yes, sir.
It's called rescind. Okay?
Rescind. Okay.
It's pronounced as rescind, and it means cancel or reject. The same meaning as repudiate or rescind. It's cancelling the thing. See? Rescind. Okay? It is rescind. Rescind, revoke, cancel, repeal. Manaki revoke, cancel vallu choice. Okay? Revoke or cancel. So, in the case of a voidable contract, the aggrieved party has a right to revoke or cancel it within a reasonable time. Okay? If it is so rescinded, it becomes void. If it is not rescinded, it becomes a valid contract. So, to distinguish between a void contract and a voidable contract on the basis of rights is that the the parties of the void contract do not have any rights at all because there's no remedy for anything, right? But for the party of a voidable contract, yes, there is a right to cancel the contract or rescind the way he said. There is a right to cancel the contract, but it should be within a reasonable time. It's not like you came into the contract 34 years ago and now you are rescinding the contract, right? So if it is so rescinded, it becomes void. If it is not rescinded, it becomes a void. Which what will not become void or what will become valid? What will become anything? Voidable contract. No. Yep. Nice. Then we have illegal contract. Just don't look at anything here. Can each one of you give me an example of illegal business? We've seen so many movies now. Tell me one. Don't just tell anything you want. Okay? I want one example from Bhavani, one example from Navya, and one example from Nita. Give me one example of an illegal business. Whatever can come to your mind. But if someone already says that, you should not say that. So fastest, whoever says the fastest.
Sandalwood business, sir.
Sandalwood business itself is illegal.
Yeah.
Is it poaching illegal or business itself is illegal? Secretly buying and selling.
Secretly. Yes, sir.
That's poaching. No, that's what poaching or whatever.
Secretly, yeah, sir.
Yeah. Secretly selling sandalwood. Sandalwood business is not illegal. Nice. She said already one thing. Navya and Bhavani. Sorry, Bhavani.
Supplying drugs.
Okay. Business of drugs is also what drugs are? Tell me 3 drugs.
I don't know.
3 drugs that are illegal to deal with.
Say heroin.
Sorry? Cocaine. Heroin.
Brown sugar.
Brown sugar. Right? So please be aware of these terms. You're not a 5th class going kid anymore, right? So it's you have to know how much ever you can about what is existing or coexisting with us, so that you are aware of things, right? If things happen to surprise, it's always happened. You can't do that. But if you can be aware of that, just be aware. Just watch so many web series now. You learn so many new things. Believe me, I've just learned so much just watching web series. So much. All of you have given examples?
Yeah.
Person has not given.
Sir, me, sir.
Navya.
Sir.
Hail, Navya.
Cyber crime, sir.
Awesome, Navya. Right? Anything that you're doing in a criminal act in the cyber world also. Right? That's also an illegal activity. Hacking someone's computer, doing wrong with their accounts, using their account as a face and doing wrong stuff. Anything or everything is a illegal activity. Okay? So it is a contract which the law forbids to. Very important terms of words that you should be knowing. So what are illegal contracts? These are contracts which the law forbids to be made. What is forbidding is asking or like, I'll tell you the real meaning of it.
Refusing.
Exactly. You should not make all these contracts only. What are you? Right? Are you insane? Right? Refuse to allow. See? Refuse to allow. So, what is this? Which the law refuses to be made only. In the first place, it should not have been made. You should never, ever make illegal contracts. But what makes those contracts illegal? The court will not enforce such a contract, but also the connected contracts. You can't go to the court saying that, sir, this guy did not supply me the cocaine he was supposed to supply, and because of that, this guy hit me. I'm going to file a case on this guy and this guy. What will happen? All 3
Both
of
will
us.
be arrested, sir.
Yeah.
They'll be put into jail.
So all illegal agreements are void, but all void agreements are not necessarily illegal. No, a valid agreement can also become a void agreement due to the impossibility of performance now, or the death of the partner. So void became a valid agreement became void, but it is not illegal to be dead. No, But all illegal agreements are definitely void. Okay, and in fact, there's a word called void ab initio. Void ab initio means it is void right from the moment it started. Right from the moment it is void. That is void ab initio. So all illegal contracts are void ab initio. Example, contracts that are immoral or opposed to public policy. Two words. What are immoral? If I'm hitting a dog with stones, what is that?
Without values, ethic values.
Morals, right? Like if you hit someone, hit dog with the stones or anything immoral, right? It hurts people watching that. And opposed to public policy, you go hit people, kill people, run over people. Why is the law for? What is the road for? What are the rules for? Right. So all the rules and regulations are policies that we've kept for ourselves so that we have a safe living. Right. So if you are doing anything that is opposing this policy, right? If there is a red light, you have to stay in the red light. If you go, that is opposing the public policy, no? So anything that you oppose with the public policy are illegal in nature. Understood? So any activities that are immoral or opposed to public policy are illegal in nature. Understood? Huh? Similarly, check this out. If R agrees with S to purchase brown sugar, see one of the illegal elements or in illegal items, Bhavani said, I guess. Who said brown sugar?
Navya, sir.
Navya, congratulations. Your example has been used in the example. So if R agrees with S to purchase brown sugar, it is an illegal agreement because you remember every agreement is a contract which is made with the free consent by the parties competent to contract with legal objective. Contract or an agreement to deal with brown sugar, is the objective legal? That only the objective made are illegal, no? So it is an illegal agreement. Right? According to section 2, subsection G of the Indian Contract Act, an agreement not enforceable by law is void. That we know, no? Right? That is an illegal contract.